Yeah, guys, I'm live now again. So we'll have this short session on dialectical meditation. So the session actually will start a little later. Yeah, hi Raki, welcome back. We'll just start the session right away. Let others join. Yeah, hi Vikrant. Welcome back. This has been a good decision, you know, that the LED capture was not good, that I realized. And that I have experimented a lot. Vikrant will understand because he knows camera. So without the black background, that LED capture on the phone doesn't work well. Hi SP, welcome back. Hi Vidyut, welcome back. So is the audio and definitely the video will be better, far better. And for the audio checking, actually I use this music, because this music plays in the background. I also keep checking the audio, so it's working fine at my end, the receiving end I mean. Who else? Nandini, Meenu are to join, right? Yes. So without much ado, I'll just start the session, and others can join, keep joining, because this is a very important session, and you'll find those who have not attended last time, they'll find it's very interesting to know the connection of the meditation with physiology and everything. So I'll start with physiology. So you need to understand physiology before opting meditation a little bit. Now, the physiology is definitely connected to the nervous system understanding. Nervous system, we know that there are two systems we have: central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. And central nervous system is a connection between the brain and the spinal cord. And peripheral nervous system is the connection between the spinal cord and the complete body. That is the peripheral nervous system. Now, the central nervous system is the connection of brain, the headquarter, to the spinal cord. So, and we know by now that we have, according to the importance of the parts of the body, brain is the most important part, but that has got a kind of helmet inbuilt, so that we cannot do much about the physical massaging and bettering the speed or the circulation. The spinal cord is the aspect which needs to be understood in terms of the action, the speed aspect. So spinal care is, that is why it is one of the most important aspect of out of the 8 factors that we discuss. Okay, I get a question from Vidyut regarding the assignments. I'll take that after the session. So now So as far as that importance is concerned, undoubtedly the brain is the most important aspect, and the thought pattern as it is understood is primarily stationed and executed in the brain. So mind is an execution of brain primarily, though it is being researched a lot about the existence of mind beyond the brain, and it is found to be correct also to term that mind is not limited to the brain, but definitely the brain is one of the main attributors of the mind. Now, when we looked into the hemispheric divisions of brain, then we found a few different kind of activities are connected to the different regions of the brain. We know these all because left brain is often called as the logical brain, and the right brain is often called as the emotional brain, or the creative brain. And these there is a pattern. If you see the activities those are executed in respective hemispheres, there is a pattern into it. If you look at the left hemisphere, the kind of activities those are governed there are analytical in nature and stepwise in nature. So rational thinking, analytical thinking, language also, it starts stepwise. The letters need to be understood first, then the word, then the sentence, then the paragraph. That way the language is learned normally. And the calculation is also stepwise, sequencing is also stepwise. When you talk about the directions, then also you need to go sequence wise, that go straight, then go to the left, then straight, then right, left, that way. So it's a sequence. Then fear and limiting belief also has got some reason. Those reasons could be imaginary or rational. A rational reason cannot trigger the limiting belief or fear. We understanding the REBT. So whatever the case may be, there is a pattern in the activities of the left hemisphere. So is the right hemisphere. Right hemisphere is a kind of holistic observation. It's a creative thinking, intuitive thinking, instant knowing, holistic picture, arts, rhythm, visualization, sense of space, tunes of songs. So here you can actually distinguish the understanding of the song in terms of the songs. The lyrics of the songs goes to the left hemisphere, and the tune of the song goes to the right hemisphere. So now you can correlate the aspect of the capability of the hemispheres very well if you just correlate the understanding that a song is usually forgotten as far as the lyric is concerned, but the tune remains in the mind. Now that proves that our right hemisphere is much more stronger than the left hemisphere, and which is quite beyond conscious portion, because the activities of the right hemisphere is not directly under control. It is some kind of emergence that happens in the right hemisphere. So you see the arts, the rhythms, all these things that emerges out, right? You cannot plan for it. If you are planning it, it is not the actual art. Now the point here is, it is a kind of beyond conscious, but the conscious mind is definitely the left hemisphere, which always seeks the reason. Right. Now, before going further, I'll just tell that what is the rationale behind taking this particular research into this presentation. There are actually a lot of researches happened in terms of the left hemisphere and right hemisphere on the split brain patient. Now, split brain patient means the patients, those who have lost one of the either hemispheres. So these are primarily war injured patients. They lose one of the hemispheres in the bullet injury and shell injury, all those stuff. So this particular research done in 83, you see the source is also written here, that shows that facial recognition accuracy by both the hemispheres. You see the darker blue is the right hemisphere people, those who do have the right hemisphere but lost the left hemisphere, and the lighter blue is the people, those who have the left hemisphere but lost the right hemisphere. Now, if you compare and in different cluster of the samples, then you will find that the darker blue is higher always. And that shows that the facial recognition is a capability which is shown more accurately by the right hemisphere people. And facial recognition is a holistic understanding, and the name recollection of the name is the left hemisphere activity. So we understand that the facial recognition is much stronger in us than the name recollection. So name recollection is a left hemisphere activity, and facial recognition is a right hemisphere activity. This it can be concluded by seeing this research, this stats, right? So this is the rationale of including that left and right hemisphere activity versus hemispheric attribution in this particular presentation. Now, if you compare whole brain activities, not only the left, not only the right, but whole brain activity, which is the reasoning capability of the mankind, the left hemisphere based approach is nothing but responding to the voice of the organism, where we do have to do a lot of reasoning out. That is what is the seat of the rational analysis. Now, the left hemisphere is the voice of the organism, and the right hemisphere is nothing but the law of unity. There is a congruence with the nature cure understanding, because we cannot ignore either of the foundations, be it voice of the organism or the law of unity. So you need to consider the importance of both the foundations and the whole brain, right? So irrespective, so why this portion is included in this particular presentation is that normally meditation is considered that it is a right brain activity. So we can ignore the left brain for the meditation, kind of a common understanding that goes, but which is not correct. Actually, the importance of whole brain cannot be negated. Importance of rational analysis cannot be negated in understanding the meditation as a whole. Now, let's understand the activities of the brain, activities of us, and the brain waves. Brain waves are the waves which we emit, and that can be also measured. There are a lot of yeah, Vikrant asked that, is it true that right-handed persons have stronger left hemisphere? Absolutely, because our limbs are connected crosswise, you know. So the left limbs are connected to the right hemisphere, and a right limb is connected to the left hemisphere. So if the right limb is stronger, you find, then the left hemisphere or the activation of the left hemisphere is stronger. That's the right word to put, you know, activation, because we do activate the left hemisphere since our conception. So that way it is activated a lot. But when you see a left-handed person, that proves that the right hemisphere is activated stronger than the left hemisphere, right? So yeah, so I was talking about the activities and the brain waves. Brain waves can be measured using EEG, electroencephalograph. So electroencephalograph actually measures the brain wave in CPS scale, cycles per second scale. And these are the 4 categories of the brain waves, different brain waves. Those are categorized as beta, alpha, delta, theta, delta. So these 4 categories are categorized in terms of the cycles per second, this thing, the frequency. So 14 to 21 CPS is considered as beta level, and 7 to 14 CPS is considered as alpha level. 4 to 7 CPS is considered as theta level, and 0 to 4 is considered as delta level. Now, if you compare the major activities corresponding to the brain waves, you will find that 0 to 4 is a state of deeper sleep, coma, brain dead states. 4 to 7 CPS is a state where sleep, deep sleep, dreamings are executed. Now, if you look at the alpha level, which is 7 to 14 CPS, which is a state of neither sleeping nor awaken, deep concentrated state and neutral state. And beta level is the normal to anger, fear, tensed, quarreling, etc. So it is from 14 to 21 CPS. Normally, if it goes beyond, then it's a schizophrenic state, and which is beyond control. Now, alpha level is definitely a neutral level, which is the goal of the wellness. If we can maintain the neutral state, then we are actually in the alpha level always. Now, if you compare the brain waves and the thoughts, number of thoughts and the brain wave, then you will find the frequencies of the brain wave is directly proportional to the thought accumulation in the mind. So frequencies of the brain wave, if the frequency is higher, then the thought accumulation is also higher, or vice versa rather, because the thought accumulation comes first, then the frequency is the appearance of that effect. Now, in a normal condition, the rate of thoughts in our mind is 120 thoughts per second, which is huge. But consciously, if we count this, then we'll find that 5 to 10 thoughts are identifiable as conscious thoughts. But what about the rest of thoughts, which are huge and multiplied? So those are coming from the beyond conscious because of the lot of background impact. Now let's relook at the brainwave natures. Now you see the 14 to 21 CPS shows this kind of this kind of wave, and then alpha level is kind of symmetric wave, and this thing theta level is actually wavelength is increased now, and it's very slow frequency, and the delta level is very pathetic level if somebody goes into the coma or brain dead state, which is absolutely elongation of the wavelength. Now thoughts, each thoughts need vitality. If we have lot of frequencies, lot of thoughts, then we consume lot of vitality. So more the thoughts, more the innervation. More the thoughts, more the innervation. The dialectic objective of meditation is reduction in innervation, which is the goal of the bettering lifestyle in sync with nature. Now what are the routes to reduce the thoughts? What are the routes to reduce the thoughts? Same, no rocket science. Physical, physiological, psychological. Physical, physiological, psychological. In other words, mechanical, chemical, and mental. Now, breathing. Breathing is one activity that actually relaxes us a lot. That relaxation is directly proportional to the amount of air that we put in. So the rhythmic breathing is a way which through physical activity we can actually reduce. So physical, when I say physical, that means the conscious activities of breathing can reduce the burden of vitality a lot, and this would impact in our thought level as well. Now breathing should have a rhythmic pattern, and breathing has 4 steps: inhalation, holding, exhalation, holding. So these 4 steps should be distributed equally in a rhythmic breathing pattern. So the inhalation, holding, exhalation, holding. Why these holdings? Because in inhalation we put the air inside, then that next holding is nothing but the processing time that we give our body to take the good portion of the air. I would like not to mention about the oxygen and all those stuff, because those are the parts things we never know beyond oxygen what are the good things are going in. So the good things are being processed and absorbed, and then the bad things are thrown away through the exhalation. And the moment you throw away, and again inhalation, if it is done immediately, then the exhaled air will prone to go inside the nostril. So the second holding is needed for that air to get assimilated in the open air. So both the holding has got its own rationale. So the rhythmic breathing is equal distribution of the time for each of the steps. Ideally, we should give 3 seconds per step. That gives us one cycle in 12 seconds. 3 4s are 12. That means in a minute, we should go for 5 cycles of breathing at least. It can go 7 seconds per steps even. So now the research says that we do breathe 10 to 15 cycles per minute. So that kind of short breathing we have inculcated. Now, due to this problem, we suffer the blow of the vitality consumption a lot, because the short breathing takes our vitality a lot. The deeper the breathing is, better for the vitality conservation, and that has to be rhythmic, at least 3 seconds per step. Now, consciously, you cannot always count to the seconds and breathe, but all in all, try to elongate the steps and bring a rhythmic synchronization between the steps. Sorry. Now coming to the postures. Now the postures has to be a poised posture. It should not be upright forcefully like the posture A, and it should not be slouch also like posture C. It should be posture B, which is poised, upright, and the spine is balanced. This is the posture for doing the meditation. So if you are sitting on the ground, that also should maintain the same spinal integrity. So this is basically the spinal integrity, maintenance of the spinal integrity during the posture, and so that the complete balance of the body is maintained well and there is no toll on the vitality. So the posture is very much important. That's a physical contribution. Now, food is another aspect. You should, if you are serious about meditation and reduction of the thoughts, then you should opt for as much as raw food, no rocket science, because raw food is lesser toll on the vitality. If you are taking spicy food, if you are taking a lot of non-vegetarian food, then don't go for the meditation, because it will be very disturbed meditation. So for impactful meditation, you need to consume simpler food. Then comes the psychological aspect. Psychological aspect of meditation actually plays a vital role in our thought reduction process. So memory plays a real important role in managing our thoughts if we use it very dialectically, because we understand that memory affects us a lot to our present state of mind. If we think about a good memory, we feel very happy and relaxed. If you think about any bad memory, we feel stressed. So memory plays a vital role, and we will use this dialectically during the process of meditation to have a better feeling and lesser thoughts. Because whenever we think about a good memory, we transport ourselves to the past me, and that past me is a state when our level of thought accumulation is lowered, and we are actually paying attention to one stimulus or multiple stimuli for that reason to feel good. So that is a deep concentrated state, and the deep concentrated state has got lesser burden on the thought levels. So we need to use memory very dialectically for the purpose of meditation. So now in the previous slide, we have seen the memory impact and transporting ourselves to the past me. Now in this slide, you see a word rational goal, which is the future state of mind. So we have a past me, we have a present me, we have a future me. Now in each of the state, if it is happy state, then it is a lesser thought accumulation in the mind. Now, rational goal, why rational goal? Because the goal should be supported with rationality so that there is no burden in the thought level. Now, this is going a little complicated perhaps when I just say this. Let's have some example. Now, let's take one particular goal of 5 students which is scoring high in examination. So 5 students are having this single objective of scoring high in the examination. Now, the first student is having this particular objective with an intention to get a job. So the cause of aiming for scoring high for this student is to get a job. The next student is doing it for impressing somebody. He or she wants to impress somebody, maybe parents or lover or whoever, but she wants to impress somebody. For that purpose, she wants to score high. Now, the next student is doing it for getting admission into the next standard. The next is doing it to get an award. The next is doing it for the knowledge purpose. So she wants to attain a knowledge, and scoring high, she considers that may prove that I have attained good knowledge, but it is not limited to that. That is the understanding. Now relook at this particular triangle, which has got one triangle at the top and 4 trapezium in the bottom, right? One triangle at the top and 4 trapeziums at the bottom. And this is actually constructed with a deep research and thoughts that these areas of these geometrical figures of trapezium and triangle depicts the kind of thought accumulation in that mind. And I'll give you the rationale. So definitely you see the bottom trapezium, this one has got the maximum area. Then this one, then this one, then this one, and this final triangle is the least in area. Now just check the person who is aiming for a scoring high in the exam, is he secured in doing so to get a job? Absolutely not. We know that, because the scoring high will not enable him to get a job for sure. So that means a lot of insecurity and a lot of thoughts in the mind. Will I get it? Will I get it? If this happens, if that happens, all those things will be playing in the mind. Same case for the impressing person. The person who wants to impress and build a relationship, that's not assured. You know, the scoring high cannot assure a relationship. It's a misunderstanding. Then again, the admission is same and award is also same. But think about this person who is having just aim about the knowledge, and irrespective of the score, he will attain some knowledge for sure. So he is not insecure at all if he is having the objective of knowledge just for studying. So this is what is the rational identification of the cause, because the why has got its own problem also, because why has got layers. So the first student, when he is asked that why you want to score high, he will give an answer, but that answer is a shallow answer. He couldn't go rational in exploring the exact why, because the connection between the purpose and the act, the cause and effect, should be connected very robust and short distance. The studying is connected to the knowledge clearly in a short distance connection. So the rational connection is the shortest distance between the cause and effect. If we go in some other direction, irrationally associating something with something else, then we'll end up thinking a lot, making a burden on ourselves as far as the thought accumulation is concerned. Now, if this example is not satisfying you, I'll present another example. Buying clothes. The first person is buying clothes to look good. The second person is buying clothes to impress. The third person is buying clothes to get some facility. The fourth person is attending an award ceremony and contesting for the fashion award, and the last person is buying clothes for her climatic protection. Now you can correlate the similar kind of pattern that looking good is never confirmed by the clothes. Impressing also, facility also, winning an award in the fashion contest is also not limited to the clothes. We know that. So the climatic protection is the exact reason to invent clothes by mankind. It is the shortest distance between the cause and effect. When we understand that and we execute that, then we are calm in our mind as far as the thought accumulation is concerned. And look at the figure again. The triangle has got the minimum area covered comparing to the trapeziums. So that is the beauty of the rational goal. Now rational goal definitely will ask you to visualize something. And I know there are a lot of debates that whether during the meditation should we visualize or not. Visualizing will disturb the meditation. There is a school of thought. But here I propose that visualization, if it is a rational visualization, then this has got long-term impact in improving our self-image. And I'm just going to present before you a valid research proving this particular aspect of improving self-image physiologically. This is the research. This is the reference is also given. You can take a screenshot also if you would like to. You can refer this. This shows the language of dreaming brain. So now just focus on this, and this is the reason why I thought that this is one of the reasons why I thought that screen sharing is a better option to go ahead for this live session, because you need to understand what it is written there. It is clearly understandable now. If you are using mobile, just put it horizontal mode so that it will be bigger and you'll be able to understand. Take a screenshot and later on you can zoom it and understand it, research it on this. Now just focus on this particular skull. The brain, sorry, not the skull, the brain. You see the gray area is inactive during dreaming. So dreaming is equivalent to the visualization, it is considered. Now the white portion is the active during dreaming. You see the gray area is inactive during dreaming. When you visualize deeply, that is equivalent to the dreaming level, alpha level, and that time we have these gray areas inactive. If these gray areas are inactive and the white areas are active 24/7, then let's see how it impacts our self-image. Now, for example, this area, the motor cortex, as you see, the motor cortex is paralyzed during our sleeping. We cannot move our hands or limbs during sleeping. During deep meditation also, we are kind of paralyzed bodily. But this particular portion, cerebellum, is perception of the movement and sensation. This region, actually you control, this portion actually controls your limbs. You move your hand, your brain will control that movement through this portion. But the belief of that movement is not controlled here. That goes from here. So this is the belief seat, and you can correlate this very easily. If you dream and you are falling from some high building or anywhere, then you just get the jerk and become awake because of that effect, because of the belief seat. The self-image development where it happens is always active, right? And it's actually the kind of joining points of the left and right hemisphere. So this particular cerebellum is always active. So whatever belief that you want to put during the meditation will enhance your self-image for sure, if it is a rational belief, if it is a rational visualization, right? So now, so this is the beauty of this particular research, which gives the support to the visualization clearly. Now, definitely during the meditation, during the process of deep concentration, we consciously sketching a strategy to activate our right hemisphere and the holistic capability. And there the reasons are not that important. While understanding the process we are reasoning out, it's fine. But during the execution of meditation, we need not to think, at least for that visualization portion, about the route. How would I achieve that? Route will evolve, but the result needs to be visualized. Routes will evolve, but the results need to be visualized clearly. Now, during the meditation, actually, there could be some arrangement of anchoring. Anchoring as in, anchor we know, which brings back the ship to the bank. So meditative state is an achievement. It's a strategic achievement rather in the dialectical process of meditation, which you achieve. You bring the neutrality in the mind and you feel the power of the overwhelming vitality within, because that reduces a lot of thoughts and increases lot of heat within, and you become so powerful, you feel. Now that meditative state can be brought back without the practice also, if you have inculcated the practice of that process for some time. And for that, I'd like to present before you the classical conditioning by Ivan Pavlov that has got the rationale of accepting this understanding. Now, yesterday also in habit management section, you underwent this particular classical conditioning experiment, which says a dog was introduced with the food in point number 1, and we see salivation in the appearance of the food. Salivation in the dog when the food appears. Now, in the second, we see a bell. When it is appeared, there is no salivation. Now, in the third, the combination of bell and food was introduced and the salivation was there. And this underwent for some time. And then suddenly the food was removed. With the appearance of the bell, the dog started salivating. So similarly, an anchor can be proved to act as this unrelated stimuli as bell to create the related response here as salivation. And meditation, it is the state of meditation, the meditative state. So an anchor could be your position of the hand, position of the leg, a specific dress, a specific ambience, a music, or whatever. A pen could be in your pocket. So you can just consciously associate that particular object with that meditative state. Then that will help you to bring back that meditative state whenever you need in future for any kind of calmness to appear. So this is not a suppression, because this will not happen because unless you do the practice of meditation for some time. That practice is the conscious process, and this anchor is a kind of emergency management. When there is some emergency, you can opt, and the moment you attain a level of tranquility all along, then you don't require the anchor. Now the dialectical meditation practice will have these all steps. It starts with the progressive relaxation of physical relaxation, then mind relaxation, then joyful recollection of a past memory, where you need to put all the sensory inputs in place. And at 9 o'clock you'll be getting 9 o'clock you'll be getting one clip, audio clip, through using which you can do that meditation practice of progressive meditation with a guided thing. Many of you have done this already, but now the reasons are explained here in this presentation. So the third step is the joyful recollection of a past memory, and the fourth step is joyful visualization of the future, of the aspired rational future. And fifth is the anchoring process, which will be all along going on, and there will be dialectical commands in that particular audio clip which we need to follow closing your eyes, and there will be pauses also in between, and you should not feel that it is ended. So strategic pauses are there in between the commands. And the smooth return is very much important, because you will be drifting to a transient state of your mind. If suddenly you come back, then that will be a jerk for your internal complete being. So the smooth return is very much important. So do not open your eyes unless you hear this command. Now slowly bring your consciousness back to your room, and only when you feel comfortable, open your eyes. So this is the command that we see, that you hear, and then you slowly open your eyes. So that's what is the recommendation for the process of meditation. Now you will be getting the link at 9 o'clock on Facebook group. But after this session is over, I'll be sharing the Google Drive link, and Google Drive link will have all the articles and this audio clip also. So I'd recommend that after this session, if you can just do the meditation for 20 odd minutes. It's exactly 19 minutes 33 seconds, the audio clip that I have shared with you, and that will be amazing experience, and share your experience in the group, right? So that ends this dialectical meditation presentation. Yeah, SP gave some command, this comment that an awesome presentation, Kalyan. I have to say something, but will say in my assignment. Thanks, Kalyan, for sharing. Yeah, SP, I am privileged to have your comment. Now, there was some question about the assignments. Please, some light on today's assignment. So, throw some light on today's assignment, Vidyut asked. So, Vidyut, today's assignment, as I see, what are the questions? Let me just check it. Just give me a moment. Yeah, so the first question is, what is the understanding about purpose and mission in life? So this is clear, it seems, from your question. Write a short autobiographical narration of an act of evil, expanding yourself in the position of the person doing it. So this is something like that, that you see an act of evil, because from last 2 days we were discussing about the evil as an illusion. By now we understand that evil is an act of that situational act by an individual. We understand this invariably. I can consider after reading your assignments yesterday. Then you try and so you can choose minimal evil, to start with, kind of stealing or slapping and these kind of things. So try and in your imagination, just try and pick up that kind of instance of evil act, and just transport yourself mentally in that position as if you have done that evil act, and just share a narration of that act, why you did it, that answering that why you have done it. So considering that evil act is done by you, and you are writing an autobiographical note about that act and the background, right? So hope that clears about the assignment question. Now we can actually end the session if you guys are okay, and if you don't have any further question, and we'll have that silence, concluding silence for 1.5 minutes, and we will go ahead with the other activities of the day. Right, guys. So we'll call it a day for now, and we'll reassemble at 6 p.m. Okay, Minu has got some problem in the video transmission, it seems. So Minu, you need to settle for the recordings for now. The sessions are recorded, and in the group it is archived for now, and we'll be having a YouTube playlist soon also with all the recordings. So yeah, so all the best, guys, for your meditation. And I'm just going to share the Google Drive link in a while. Thank you. Bye-bye.